Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. Whether this is your brand new reading, first time you've ever clicked on, welcome, or if you are returning, you've been here for a while, or a brand new subscriber, welcome one and all. Today we have a wonderful reading, as always. We have our beautiful red candle for passion and love, and we are going to be talking to some love goddesses today. So we have which love goddess has a message for you. Now we're going to leave it up to the goddesses to see what the messages are. There's many different kinds of love, and of course there's self-love in there too. So the more you love yourself, the more open you are to changing your world in every way, shape, or form, bringing in new people into your world, including a new lover. So it's all a win-win situation, no matter what they talk about. So we have which love goddess has a message for you. We have the goddess Freyja coming out today and the goddess Áine. So Freyja, of course, is a beautiful Norse goddess of beauty and magic, also lust to gold. For all those manifesting folks out there, and she protects those who have also left the earthly realm. So ancestors could be coming in, leaving that all up to her. And again, Áine, she is a Celtic goddess, and she is said to be the queen of the elves and also the lady of the lake. The original lady of the lake is based off of Áine, and she has a lot of luck and magic and nature, and she's the goddess of light. So she will be with us today also. And then we have the goddess Gaia. Now, I'm sort of ad-libbing here a little bit. My goddess, Gaia, I guess, she's she's kind of the original goddess, right? She's more sort of Mother Earth, so we're using her here, and I'm sure she'll be okay with that. So we are going to use the Mother Goddess also, and that is our beautiful Gaia. So that's number 3. Now I've changed these up so you don't know which one you're going to be choosing. This is pile 1 with our magic deck here. This is the Starseed deck on pile 2, and then we have the Angel Guide deck here, the Oracle, all Oracle cards for pile 3, but you don't know which has the corresponding goddess. So we're just going to leave it up to fate and see which one you pick. Now, of course, however you pick energy, color, completely and totally up to you. It's as we always say, it's just important that you come back to yourself, really pull your energy back into your own body, ground into your own energy, and click into that heart chakra, that heart space, and really get with your beautiful intuition. The more you are aligned with your intuition, the more these readings absolutely make sense or will resonate with you. As always, because it is I was going to say a personal reading, because it is I can't think of the word, general reading. Yes, they are general readings. Because it's a general reading, please take what resonates, and just whatever isn't meant for you, don't worry about it. And however you take the information, integrate it into your own soul and see how it feels for you. These readings are just for guidance and support. So let's move right into the readings. So this will be pile 1. Let's move pile 2 and pile 3 aside. So if you chose pile 1, which love goddess has a message for you, then you have chosen the goddess Áine. If you chose this card here, and again, goddess Áine is the goddess of light, the queen of elves, luck and magic and nature, and said to be the lady of the lake. So a little elfin energy here. So let's go ahead and choose some more cards for you too. So the goddess Áine is going to be working with us today. So both of these wanted to come out. And then, as usual, we will start with our oracle cards, and then we will move in to our tarot later on, our goddess tarot. So let's start with the original card. So you have Homeward. Take yourself out on a date. That's number 42. So these are your love readings. Then you've got Courage and Bravery here. And you've got Forgiveness and Understanding. Okay. And then the last one is Cracked Open, Rock Bottom, Surrender to the Alchemy of Life. All right, pal ones. This is what we've got for you. This is the message coming through. So this is in essence, and of course we have your magic candle too, giving you a little bit of extra vavoom in the reading. So this is a love reading of sorts, an actual love reading. This is a preparing for you to, so this is mainly for, so there's two different sort of energy here. So this is a reading for people who do not have anybody in their life yet, or this is a reading for somebody who has somebody in their life, but it's sort of falling away a little bit, and they're pulling in new energy into their life. So this is the energy that's in and around you, is to really allow yourself to surrender into the moment and crack open. Some of you are, and it's completely understandable. For some of you, there's grief in and around this. So there's a relationship that's ending. Now, deep down, you know that it's for the right reasons. And some of you may have kept the relationship sort of alive, or try to keep the relationship alive for many different reasons. And that's completely admirable. But in your heart of hearts, you know that it's fallen away. It's sort of out of your hands in a way. But this is the grief element of it. Allowing yourself, again, this idea of being cracked open, and this idea of really hitting rock bottom, but it's not really that. It's just allowing yourself to sort of be really cracked open and allowing in that grief. Now, for some of you, you're just trying to keep forward, and there's many different reasons. Again, these are general readings, of course. There's many different reasons why you would want to hold it together. But the understanding is just to let everything go and to let everything in. There's a feeling for some of you, and again, this is for specifically for those who are in a relationship, but the relationship is moving outwards. It's falling apart. And there's something more coming in for you, but we don't need to focus on that just yet. This is a reading very much on yourself. There is this sort of understanding of, if you do this incrementally, if you let grief in incrementally, and you don't allow it all in at the same time, you'll be able to sort of keep it together. And again, there's many different reasons why you would need to keep it together. And what they're saying is that if that's what you feel like you need to do, we would never tell you not to do it. But there is also this understanding, this absolutely beautiful gloriousness to sort of allowing yourself to be cracked open, because in that surrender, the beauty of everything that you've been through together with this other person really comes to the forefront, and you'll be able to sort of release out of that relationship quicker. This incremental moving forward still keeps you tethered to them ever so slightly, in a way that if you allow everything to crack open, it does feel as though it's overwhelming. It does feel as though it's going to sort of overtake you in some ways. Totally understand that. But in that, there's a beauty in hitting that rock bottom, because when you hit that rock bottom, and it's not even a way to say it, it's there's an alchemy to it, because when you really allow yourself to take everything in, there's this gorgeousness beyond the grief that's waiting for you. There's an appreciation for everything that you've been through, regardless of the good times and the bad times. There's a moving away from seeing things sort of as a movie projector of everything that you've been through, the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, and instead the cracking open really allows you to pull in all of that, just that energy, without having to get caught up in the memories, and really sort of alchemize that energy of everything that you've been through with this gratitude and this forgiveness and this beauty. And there's forgiving on both sides. There's a need to forgive yourself. Even though you don't need to forgive yourself, there will be an understanding of forgiving yourself, forgiving the other person, and also for some of you being a little bit mad at the universe too. There's just this anger and owning it too. The transmuting period can really happen in your life if you allow it to crack open. We want to remind you that cracking yourself open doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be overwhelmed by it. Sometimes when we sort of try to play it safe in a while, and there's a reason for doing that. Like we said, there's many different reasons why some of you will be wanting to move in this direction, because there's others that are relying on you. This is perfectly normal. But sometimes when we move incrementally and we do this sort of like safely, when we have time to do this, it actually, it draws it out, becomes much more of a painful period. Really sort of allowing yourself to really pull yourself into that grief, and those people that are around you too. you know, there's an understanding that you want to protect them, but also understanding that if you allow yourself to really, again, get within that grief and then move on the other side of that grief, they're only going to see you for a brief period of time, sort of quote unquote falling apart. And then they will see the sort of beautiful phoenix from the ashes coming up. And that's going to really solidify what grief is for you, what grief is for them when they experience it too. So there's a remarkable courage and bravery for being able to do it this way, and regardless of how you choose to do it and move forward, there's a remarkable bravery and courage for everything that you've been through. This is heartbreaking for some of you going through it. We have absolutely hold strength for you, and for the other side of you guys, who are not in a relationship yet, but can feel sort of like the soulmate action coming in, and can feel like somebody's coming in. This is also a message for you to also move through some of that grief, also move through some of that. And again, we always say here on Unicorn Light Tarot, there's no need to go down the rabbit hole. There's absolutely no need to feel as though there's so much healing for you to do. It really isn't that. And this is not about going into your sort of the darkness within you, which can be really beautiful actually. Or even placing yourself in the void or doing a lot of shadow work. For a lot of you, you've already done that. It's really not about that, but it's about gathering all of your experiences in the past that you've had thus far. And we're talking about romantic experiences, and especially the ones that did not fare well. And we want you to be really, really honest about what happened there, about how you were giving up your power, how for many of you, you wanted to be seen, and you gave your energy, your love, and even your body to maybe people who didn't quite deserve you one way or another. And again, we're holding out our heart for any reasoned in and around that understanding or that truism. And we also want you to sort of forgive yourself for doing that. That's exactly where you were. There's no shame in that. There's no beauty. Some of you had a lot of fun, and that's a great thing too. But for some of you, there's a little bit of sort of shame or guilt. And some of you, it's actually transmuted into anger about what it is and who you gave your energy to. That's exactly where you were at the time. That's totally fine. We want to remind you to step out of your body a little bit too, and remember that you were protected through each and every one of these circumstances. And there were nuggets of wisdom for you to pick up on in those relationships. Some of you sort of were in a situation where you sort of dated the same type of person, and some of you are beating yourself up about this, and this is something that comes up a lot with people, but the specifics of this we want you to carry on with you is that each and every individual that seemingly had the same sort of energy actually had more to teach you in this. And you were digging deeper all the while. There was a reason why you were with each and every person, because this person represented something quite, something heartfelt for you. So it was important to peel back the layers of the onion sort of slowly and steadily. This was not a lesson that you would be able to learn with one partner per se, or one love interest, whether you actually got to be with them or not. Some of you are actually looking from the outside in. You weren't actually with that person, but there was still some projection upon that. But that was still very important for you to figure out and decipher your own feelings. So regardless of whether you're looking back and whether you're angry or this, that, and the other, and really check in with yourself too. Or some of you may be looking back and feeling some grief because some of you have lost some of your previous loves, and there's a little bit of remnants of that energy in and around there. Now, we don't want to talk about necessarily releasing that. What we want to do, we want to put your attention to really understanding and honoring where you were at that time. And in that process of honoring, it's automatically released. We actually want you to go out of your way not to release this, right? Not to release. We want to get you to the point of gratitude for everything that you've been through. And this is for both sets of people too, whether you are in a relationship and it's moving through it and it's sort of crumbling away, or it's moving on to a new sort of facet, or you are getting yourself ready one way or another, or feeling as though you're starting to get ready for pulling in somebody new. Now, this often happens when we put our 2 feet into something and we say, all right, we're ready to do this, universe. We're absolutely ready, right? We usually think that the world is going to open up to us, and it does in a certain way. But then we start getting these little blockages and these blockades, and we start thinking maybe we're not on the wrong, maybe we're on the wrong path. And, I was ready for this, and there's a little bit of resistance, or it's a little bit harder, or stuff's coming up for us. Maybe this isn't the right route. For those of you who are going down that route, we just want to remind you it is the right thing. It is great to have aligned action and everything moving in. And it's wonderful not to push anything that's not for you. But at the same time, sometimes when you come into it, very often actually, when you come into something and you decide that you want something, you put your energy behind it. As you move forward, there is something that comes up just a little bit, and the universe is sort of helping you clear out so you can bring this to you even quicker. It's not a sign that this is not for you or that you're not ready. And for those of you who have been getting ready for and been feeling like, oh, I'm getting excited and feeling ready for somebody new coming into your life, and then all of a sudden this old stuff starts coming up, and then you start doubting yourself. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe that's not true at all. Again, all of this stuff is just coming up for you to clear out and get ready for this new person coming in. But again, don't go down that rabbit hole of doing a lot of shadow work. You don't need to do that. And also, there's this obsession with releasing too. There's nothing wrong with releasing, but there's many different ways to release. Again, if you honor everything that's coming up and just honor in that appreciation, you will automatically release all of this energy because it's already been worked through. So what you don't want to do is estimate this energy that's coming in and decipher from that or decide from that, oh my goodness, I don't need to move forward. You don't want to be doing that. And all the time you don't want to be taking in this information too much, because sometimes, pile one, you can over focus on things when they come up. You can over focus just a little bit, and in that energy you move out of alignment a little bit because you don't trust yourself as much. The practical mind takes over. Nothing wrong with the practical mind. We need that too, that divine masculine setting that foundation for us. But sometimes you can move out of your intuition and move out of alignment, and then what you do is you take on the quest of something that could be really fun, and you turn it into something that can be a little bit more mechanical, and then you feel overwhelmed by it, overwhelmed by the process, and then you fall out of it, and then you don't really want to do it anymore, right? So we want to keep you aligned. We absolutely want to keep you aligned. We want to keep you there. We want to understand that all of this is available to you without a shadow of a doubt. And it's not even like hinges coming in or spanners in the work. That's what I was saying, hinges, spanners in the work. It's just stuff that's coming up for you to honor. And again, in that releasing, you feel closer to that life, not that life that you want. You've got the life that you want. More is coming in for you, but this energy of love that's coming in. And also in that moment, you can hold the sacredness of this beautiful self-love that you have, and honoring what you've been through, where you are now, and everything that you've learned from that situation. And you can fall back into sort of love with yourself. And this is for both people too, people who are watching things fall away and working through that. And for those of you who are still watching things fall away, but also who are unattached as yet, but are feeling as though you are ready for this to come in. This is just exercise that you can do, bringing your energy back to yourself, taking yourself out on a date, putting your energy first. The best way you can bring in a new love is to put your energy first. Be wonderful in the now moment and have everything that you need already, and that beautiful honesty about where you are. Yeah, you can say to yourself, it would be nice if I shared my life with somebody else. I would love that. But at the same time, I love who I am, and really enjoy where you are too if you're single, because when you're not single, it shifts everything, and you can't go back to being single. You can have time alone. You can go off and do whatever you want. That's fine. You don't be joined at the hip or anything like that. But your space and your world shifts. It changes. So enjoy exactly where you are. Enjoy going out and taking yourself out. Enjoy all of that energy. It's going to bring in this new energy more. So we've got so much for you in that we haven't even gotten into the tarot cards yet. So let's go ahead and do that for you. So this really is an energy of peace, bringing that peace back to you and honoring exactly where you're going through, and knowing that You're exactly where you need to be in this really precise moment, and also honoring your past. We can always honor our past. When we look back to the past, especially when we're moving through something, it is perfectly natural to sometimes sort of honor it in such a way that we see it like a movie, and we're trying to make sense of everything, right? And sometimes when we look back when something's ending, we try to make sense of everything. Sometimes we can even look into and overview, and when we're looking at everything and we're giving it an overview, we can look too much into that. I should have seen that. I shouldn't have seen that. This is not what we're asking you to do. And also that's just providing a narrative for you that's going to drive you absolutely crazy. So if you're in that loop, come on out of it. Just accept exactly where you are and exactly where you were, and honor the sort of the time passing with this person. Or everything that you've done with your love life thus far. See it as sort of a beautiful journey that you can honor, and also in that honoring and that gorgeousness, you can let it go completely and then be ready for something new. Either way, what's happening is that you're shedding to make space for new people, and that's regardless of which side of which side you are, not which side you are on, but which person that we are talking to in this, whether you're with somebody or whether you're looking to bring somebody in. It's really a case of, this is for both of you, is exactly the same. It's about acquiring space, honoring where you were, and acquiring space so you can move forward with these new beginnings, because there's new beginnings for both of you, and they have this beautiful passion of moving forward, and it's really on the heels of the passion that you've had for really understanding everything that you've been through and being grateful for everything that you've been through, but also sort of ending the chapter, closing that book. That chapter is done. We're starting a new one, but getting excited about the future and just letting little sparks of that excitement come in. If you're not there yet, that's absolutely fine. This is a journey for you. The worst is definitely behind you, without a shadow of a doubt. And honestly, there is an honoring of being in this moment of where you can just be who you are and really sort of reclaim oneself, just in the sort of the individual, the uniqueness, and coming in and really solidifying that before the energy is put out to other people to come in. Now, for some of you, you're not ready right now to come in with a new love, and that's fine. The space is being open for new compassion, for new friends, for soul family members to come in, for new opportunities moving forward, for solidifying new businesses and new ideas and that sort of thing, moving forward, taking the energy of love and light moving forward. So for some of you, there is this understanding of sort of when you look back. For some of you, this is not a message for all of you, but if this is for you, hopefully we can help you. This idea of like, when you look back, whatever it is that you're losing, you're not going to be able to get that again. Technically, you're not going to be able to get that again, because everybody is unique and they bring in new reasons and new beauty, right? But we promise you there is more in your future. There's far more in the future, and also in future relationships, whether they're soul family or love relationships, love interest. You're not going to have to work so hard in the future to kind of secure your understanding of who you are. There was a lot of energy put into this relationship. If you're one of the people where the relationship is crumbling and you're like, oh my goodness, I'll never find this again. There was a lot of energy that you executed, far more for most of you than they did. And again, that's totally fine. It happens that way, but it can be kind of exhausting. A lot of your energy was put into that. We're asking for you to pull back your energy into you, ground into the foundation of who you are, first, second, and third chakra, and just, again, allow for that to sort of move over you and move through you. And we promise you that there's aligned relationships coming in for you, versus relationships that were very important for your soul development, which is the relationships that you've been in before, extremely important for your soul relationship. And some of you had soul contracts with this person. And even for some of you, you may have even had children with them too, because that's part of the soul contract. And that's absolutely beautiful. And that's soul contract is gorgeous. Now, if that soul contract is ending, then it just means that the next relationship that's coming in for you has a different soul contract, which means that you're not working through old aspects of self and even past life soul contracts with the new person. Your new soul contract will be able to shine fully with who you are. So this is really just a reminder that so much more is coming in for you, and new levels of commitment and relationship where you can truly shine. Right? Different soul contracts coming in for you. So if that was the message for you, then that is the message for you. So again, the temptation here is to now we also want to be very cognizant of your energy and honor that too. It's really important if there's anger to let it out. All of this is really, really important to get back in touch with yourself. There is just bringing it up again, this when you look back, either seeing it in some kind of movie form where you're putting everybody on a pedestal, and I'll never get this again. We want you just to be very honest about the soul contract and the situations that you were in before, and also playing the blame game too. Now, if there's essences that you need to do in order to really come full circle of what it is that you went through with this person, and this can be for those of you who are looking to your past, and for those of you who are actually in this active relationship that's falling apart, to take full responsibility, that's absolutely fine. But again, pull your energy back and make sure it's grounded into your foundation. Make sure you're taking full responsibility for everything that's going on, and don't get involved in any of this drama. It's just going to prolong everything that's going on. So again, we're sending you so much love and light, and honestly, it's really and it can be tough when you say that, you know, when you're saying sending so much love and light, because we really are, and we totally do understand where you're coming from. And I know it's said in the spiritual community all the time, and when you are down sort of in the dumps like this, it can feel as though that's sort of like, oh, that's too much, I can't believe, you know, don't send me anything, this, that, and the other, I don't believe it, or it can be really, really tough. So for those of you who are really in that situation, we promise you this too shall pass. If you really look to when you have the inkling to be able to do this, when some of this energy is moved through, really look at the soul contract of the people of before, relationships that you've had before, the current relationship that you're in, and again, honor that soul contract for what it is. Honoring and being grateful for where you are takes an incredible amount of bravery, not going into the drama, and this incredible amount of bravery, but we promise you it'll bring you into this moment of surrender, and then release happens from that. So this is what we have for you. Beautiful Pile 1 and our gorgeous goddess Áine here, the Celtic goddess here. So also it was in a way a little bit heavy because she has the elf element, the elemental element too. So we just want to leave you with at the end of the reading to be cognizant of this and really bring in sort of the elemental energy. And whenever you're ready to come back into and really click into that childlike, beautiful inner child that you have too, and just surrendering to the process of what's going on. And for those of you who are getting ready for this for new relationships coming in, again, for love relationships and soul connections, they are coming in absolutely without a shadow of a doubt. So just remain exactly who you are, loving up on yourself, and all of this will manifest for you. So we are sending so much support and love for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Take care of yourself, sending you excellent, even more energy from Goddess Áine too. I want to send so much love and energy and beauty and thankfulness for coming in to oversee this reading. You go be you until we meet again. Take care. Hey, my lovelies, Pile 2. If you chose Pile 2, this is your reading. Which love goddess has a message for you? And of course, you don't know yet. And we will tell you. The goddess Gaia, Mother Earth, has the message for you. She will be overseeing this beautiful reading, and of course she needs no introduction. She is Mother Earth, Divine Feminine Incarnate, and of course we have our magic candle too. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's see, we're going to also provide some more oracle cards for you. Now this is a goddess love reading, so we have no idea what messages are going to come forth. It is up to our goddess Gaia here. Let's start with these three, and then we'll move on other cards. So we have Starkeeper, Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. Beautiful. And then address your addictions. Okay. Okay. And then Lighthouse, don't doubt your worth. Okay. So this came in really, really very vigilantly here. Pile 2. Some of you are, and this is not a dark night of the soul or anything like this. This is just if you are, this is going to be a timeless reading, but we also are in a very specific time in the collective. If there's an energy in and around you right now that's just feeling, let's see, let's put this, get you a little bit more room. That's just feeling a little bit down. That's just feeling as though whatever efforts you're putting out there are just not seeding the right kind of energy and are not sort of flourishing the way in which you you want to see them. And then you're sort of coming back and being a little bit hard on yourself and then doubting your process, right? We have advice for you. First of all, please stop, try to stop being hard on yourself. I know when people tell you to stop doing things that, you know, you're already in the mentality of doing, it's really frustrating. So first of all, we apologize for that. But we also want to ask you to be very honest about where it is that you are. And this is all about a self-love reading too. And again, as we said in the introductions, once you have self-love, you can transform your world at any moment, including love, right? So, you know, bear with us. This is not an incidental reading. So one of your addictions, okay, we're just going to be real talk here, pal, too. One of your real addictions is sort of giving up before things have flourished, right? And before you give up, what you tend to do is you tend to see all the negative things and say, all right, it's not working. And then you kind of pull back your energy. And then of course your energy, you come out of the energy of alignment, and then you say, and then it comes back, it never works out, da, 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 da. Now, many of you do this to different degrees. Some of you a little bit more, some of you a little bit less. Some of you, it's a little bit of the self-sabotage is a little bit more subconscious. But if you're still here in this reading and you're interested and it's hit a nerve with you or something, then stay with us. Now, this is what you do. You absolutely, you do this and you've done this before. Now, there's a way that you do this, and we're just going to be honest with you again. You're just this addressing your addictions. You do this in a way because you're not afraid of the responsibility of success, and you don't necessarily believe that you're not obsessed with the idea that you're not going to get what you want. In fact, you're running away from the fact that deep down you know that you're capable of this, and you know that the universe is ready for you to do it. And on top of that, for many, many years, for most of you, you didn't think that you were good enough, but something shifted in the last 18 months where you've really come back to yourself and you really understand that what you do is brilliant. And it can be very well received in the world. So there was an inkling before where there was a part of you that wondered whether you were talented enough to be able to do this. Because a lot of what you do, I don't know, depending on what you do, some of you may be artists, but there's a lot of solo energy going into your work. So when you work in a room, I mean, I'm a writer, obviously. When I work in a room, you know, it's just me and, you know, the computer or a pen and paper. And it's very difficult for you to ascertain how it's going to look in the world, how it's going to be taken, right? And it's always a surprise to me when my writing, it's, you know, people come back and say, oh my God, this was brilliant. And it still will always be a surprise to me because you do it in one room, right? So some of you have variants of this where it's, if you're creative or you're an artist, you do this, or even if you're coming up with an idea for a company, it's something that you're doing, it's seemingly a little bit outside of the box, but you're creating it sort of on your own. And yeah, you can go off and you can run your idea by other people, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's your creation. So it can be really tough to be able to gauge how brilliant you are in a way, right? Because it's a lot of you are not sort of contained in this version of self where other people are constantly sort of, oh, that great work, da 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 da, you know. So it's been difficult for you to sort of ascertain your brilliance. But in the last sort of 18 months, the last 2 years, and for some of you it's been 5 years, you've been putting yourself out in such a way where you realize that not only are you very good at what you do, but the world has room for you. It has space for the way in which you see the world. And And also that you're absolutely needed, and you're absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you're capable of doing what it is. And also, for some of you, this may not be for all of you, but there's a little bit of sort of fragileness. And again, this is a little bit of a real talk here, Pal, too. There's a little bit of fragileness insofar as you see yourself as being extremely sensitive. Now, that is absolutely true. Most of you are extreme sensitives, but at the same time, you've labeled that as sort of weak. So there's an essence of the reason why you run is because there's an aspect of you, albeit quite subconscious, that if you get to the sort of level of success that you want, that it will overwhelm you and it's not really what you want and you'll end up running away from it anyway, right? So why not sort of at the last minute make sure it doesn't happen? So you have not, a lot of you have not taken into consideration that you have intensely powerful, extremely powerful ancestors and guides, and you're also working with Mother Nature. We've got Gaia here, we've got Mother Gaia here. I mean, you are supported in every way. We also want to remind you, and this is so important, we feel like we say it a lot, and this is said in the spiritual community a lot, but we really want you to get it today. You've been working towards this lifetime for many different past lives. This is not your first rodeo. You knew what it would take to step up in this lifetime, and you were prepared to do it. You've been preparing for it for many different lifetimes. There is absolutely no way, Pal 2, absolutely no way in shape or form, every single one of you that's listening to this reading, that you are not prepared and you are not ready. There's no way that you're not ready for what it is that you've asked for. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. The one thing that you don't do is that you tend to see the darkness before you see the light. Now, in a way, that's been good for you because you've really moved through the darkness and really worked through the darkness in a way that most people are quite afraid to do, right? But at the same time, you tend to see the darkness. You tend to see what will go wrong before what will go right. And the one thing that you've not realized is the level of success that you want to attain, the level of, even fame for some of you to get out there, will be met with exactly the energy that you have. So it will be the level of fame that you will be happy with, and you will absolutely click into this level of notoriety or whatever it is that you do, this level of success, with absolute ease. And it will look exactly the way it's supposed to look for you. You're looking at how it looks for other people, and then you're trying on that version of it and go, oh, I don't want this. Of course you don't want it. Of course you don't want it. It's not your level of success. It's not that's not the world that you've created for yourself. That's not the world that you want. You're literally comparing yourself to situations that you don't want. And then you're saying to yourself, I'm just going to back off a little bit. You're setting yourself up for disaster. Of course you don't want that. Now, if this is happening on a psychological level or a subconscious level, now at some level, it would have been subconscious. But for most of you, it's relatively conscious now. And for some of you, you're caught in that cycle a little bit. And it all comes back to self-love. It all comes back to deserving. It's about really understanding that you are absolutely creating the reality that you want. So we want you to understand that the reality that you're creating is that when you create this kind of success and this beauty that you want, it fits in with your personality type. It fits in with exactly what you want, not with society's version of fame. You're not doing that. You're here to create new systems, new worlds, new ways of being, and bring in ancient energy and beautiful and magic incorporated into everything that you do. Why is it that when it comes to yourself, you can see it in the world. You're insanely magical. You can see it in other people. You can see it in the world. But why is it when it comes back to you, you can feel the energy of it, but when it comes to practicing that magic within you, you keep limiting yourself? So this is a cycle that's really, really easy to move through. Again, don't go down the rabbit hole and overthinking this. This is really easy to click out of. All it is a shift in perception. But it should be a shift in perception for good. Expect miracles. Now, this is going to be hard for a lot of you because, again, you can accept that there's miracles in the world. You can accept without a shadow of a doubt that miracles happen, right? You can even accept on some level that they have happened for you, right? It's very difficult for you to accept that they can happen every single day. We want you to get used to not filtering through your life and what it is that you're doing through the negative first, just to prepare yourself, right? And then allowing in the light. We want you to, that's not to say that we want you to ignore the negativity that comes up, not at all. You can be an active observer of things that are coming up and saying, oh, this is coming up because of that, that, and that. I get this now, but we're moving through this. This is old shit, right? We don't need it anymore. What we want you to do and get this into your beautiful skulls is that miracles happen every day. And yes, they can happen for you, and they can happen multiple times a day. They can happen whenever you want. They can be small, they can be large, but they can happen. We want you to start seeing your life through the lens of the beauty first, of the light first. And if the darkness comes up, you'll be able to work with it. You've worked with the darkness for so long. There's an aspect of you that keeps expecting to work with the darkness first. And it's almost like you've worked with the darkness slightly too long, right? Because you're remaining in it. But you're not remaining in the darkness. What you're doing is you're hiding essences of your brilliance, and you're not attaining the levels that you could attain. So you're not hiding in the darkness because there's more for you to figure out, or you're in this kind of negativity. Not at all. You're actually at the point where all of the stuff can take off, and it can be absolutely beautiful. But you're holding yourself back because you're sort of pulling yourself out a little bit and containing yourself in this void moment. It's almost like you're creating that void moment. Now, when people are in the void moment, it's actually a beautiful time because something big is happening. And the universe wants you to be in that void moment. So it's sort of the womb. It's the mother womb. And it's creating this time for you to sort of sit still and get a little bit of rest before the opportunities start coming in. Now, when you're in that, now for some of people who don't realize that's what the void is, they can get a little bit frustrated, and every time they put out their energy, nothing comes back. That's because you're in a holding place right now, and that's why not everything's going to come back. However, you're purposely putting yourself into this void moment. You're actually ready to take off. You're putting this into a void moment. So when things aren't coming back, you feel it even more. It's not even just the frustration. Before, when people are trying to push out of the void, they get frustrated, they even get angry, and then, it can come back to them. But you are actually getting down on yourself. You're actually doubting yourself. There's darkness, there's energy around you because you're actually in this, you're purposely pulling in this void moment. And it is absolutely not necessarily, it isn't necessary, pal, too. You are ready to take off. You're ready to expect these miracles. And the other thing that we want to say, which is why Mother Gaia is in this too, for you, it's absolutely important for you to click back into your intuition. Every time you try to do something practical as you move yourself forward, it's not really going to work for you. It's going to have limited results. That's also going to sort of play into what you're going through right now, because your practical mind's going to be, well, yeah, but we've done this, that, and the other, and it's not giving us any kind of results. So obviously this isn't the right time. It's going to play into this narrative that's going on, and that's not really what's going on. All that's being reflected back to you is a different kind of energy. The universe is saying, we want you to go back to that aligned action with the divine feminine. And when you acted on that, everything kind of fell into place, right? And it's a weird thing to say, this practicality that you have isn't going to work as you move forward, right? That's not to say that we don't want you to be practical. We love the divine masculine, really holding space for the divine feminine. But for you moving forward, it's really important to learn to trust yourself. So you've set this up that if you work in the practical, and you have ways of psyching yourself out, pal, too, you really do. It's kind of funny. See, you set this up that if you did it in a practical way, we're giving you an example, and some of you are actually doing it. If you did this in a practical way and you achieved your success, most of you would be like, well, anybody could achieve it because I just did this in a practical way. I did X, Y, and Z. Anybody can do it. But to really acknowledge and stand in your own authenticity and appreciate your authenticity, which you are here to do in this lifetime. It's part of your blueprint, by the way. If you went on your own path and you trusted your intuition and only took aligned action, and when you look back and your path is very synonymous with who you are, then you can trust that what it is that you've earned is owed to you, that you've done this on your own. Right? And then you can really engage and really enjoy being at that level of success. So this is set up, you set this up for yourself. So that practical element of you, when you're trying to do it, it's not going to work. Now, that doesn't mean for everybody else it won't work. I mean, there's absolutely things that you can take on board, and you know, we don't want to throw out the practicality, but for you it won't work because it's in your blueprint. You're here to learn to trust yourself again. And again, you wouldn't trust yourself necessarily if you took a very standard route to get to where you are. So all of these kind of great ideas that are coming up, they're a little bit outside of the box. Stick with them. That aligned action is going to come in. And as that aligned action starts working for you and really starts accumulating, then you're going to start appreciating yourself. You're going to start appreciating your gift for who you are. And you're going to allow in more of these miracles coming in. So if you're at that stage now where you're just going through the motions and you're doing all of this and you're like, this happens, this works for everybody else, I don't know why this isn't working for me. That's the reason why we want to remind you, you set yourself up for this. Not that we want to say, you know, this is all your fault. Far from it. You set this up because this is the way you wanted things to be done. And this is the way you wanted things to be done because the payoff is going to be amazing, which means that you are in absolute control of pulling back your energy and regrouping and just shifting your frequency and shifting your perspective just a little bit. We're giving you this information so you can change it up. So not for you to feel bad about yourself. We want you to do the opposite, right? We want to get you out of these mind traps that you put yourself in. And you create these traps out of nowhere. And you make these traps so bloody large. And they're not really that large. You've just made them large in your head. It's this addiction to sort of, it's almost like you want to say, see, I tried and I didn't get to where I want to be. But really deep down, you know you can have what you want. Without a shadow of a doubt. So you're coming out of this energy. You're really understanding that you've done this to yourself. Again, real talk, pal, too. You've done this to yourself, which also means that you have an incredible amount of power. Now, you've been coming into that energy of power for the last 18 months, the last 2 years. A lot of you have had these activations into your specific blueprints. So you've really been activating your power and understanding how that power specifically works in the external, works in the world. You're also really understanding that how you use your energy as a very, very simple breakdown. When you think of something, you are the universe. You're a fraction of the universe. You're not working with the universe. You are the universe, right? So when you think something, that exact energy is mirrored into the universe and into reality, and it grows something. Something's actually growing from it, right? The energy of it. So whether it's positive or if it's negative, but you're actually seeing this in its actuality. The energy that you're putting out, you're watching it grow in this reality in and around you, and you're starting to realize this beautiful and gorgeous connection of you and the universe being one. And you're also really understanding that sort of that parallel power that comes with that, and being able to wield it to your advantage, but also to, you know, working with your higher self. So that works in the external too. So let's see, we've got Judgment here, and you've got the King of Staves reversed, King of Wands, and then you have, so this is all about you, again, coming back to a version of yourself that you've not really been in and around yet. Now, you've been working on yourself and shedding so much, and you've done so much work on yourself, and that's absolutely incredible. But this version of self is ready to be formed, and it hasn't been formed completely and totally yet. And this version of self absolutely knows that they're going to get what they want without a shadow of a doubt. And this version of yourself already exists, but this version that you're clicking into now, that you want to create, knows that it's going to be the right thing for you, and is not afraid of that level of success, and is not afraid to be powerful in the world. You're not afraid to be powerful in your body. You're not afraid to be powerful in a small group, but there is a little bit of fear of being powerful in the collective, right? Because, and this is remnants of the past life too. You know, some of those past lives haven't gone so well when you were powerful. And that's the same for a lot of people, right? That's the same for a lot of people. So there's still remnants of that. But at the same time, you've come here to be powerful. You've come here to be out there. You've come here to be in the collective, to be able to do that. And you also come here to transcend all of that old energy of people having power over you and telling you this. You're here to transcend all of that, transmute it, and say, no, that's your opinion. And here's the deal. And here's an actual truth. Your opinion doesn't mean anything to me. I respect it because it's your opinion, but it doesn't have any bearings on me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't need to take it on. I don't need to take it in. I can respect you from afar. And actually, I will have more compassion for you and what you've been through to come up with that understanding of the world and everything if I don't take on your energy. This is part of your success. This is what you're here to do, to transmute, to transcend, to claim that success. So all of this is part of your blueprint. Right? And you're not going to be able to get to that level of success until you absolutely believe in yourself, believe in that miracles that happen, believe in that power, and also on the external say, I'm done. I'm absolutely done with everybody else's opinion. And it's not like my opinion means more. It's not that. This is not from the ego. This is absolutely not from the ego. And your guides have been waiting for you to say, I'm done with all of this. I'm done with taking on all of this energy. I'm done with taking on all of these opinions, and somehow finding it in your heart to believe that you're the one that's trying to find truth in every single person's opinion. It's not your deal. No, you don't need to do that in this lifetime. Again, their opinions and their truth is based on the reality that they've worked out for themselves. And there's a million different ways why people choose their own reality based on distrust and fear and ignorance and all sorts of different things. And again, free will zone, they get to do whatever they want. It doesn't mean that you need to take everything in and make sense of it. You don't. You're not here to make sense of absolutely everything and try to come up with a definitive at the end. You're here to go with the flow, enjoy the process of life, enjoy that there are many different facets of life, many different opinions, many different people. And also you're here to do whatever you're here to do, and you're here to do to honor what you're here to do and integrate that into the world and honor that and honor the people that honor that. And that's absolutely fine. That's it. So this is all part and parcel of what it is that you are here to do, right? And this is all part of what you're going through, little pieces of the puzzle to bring it in to really solidify that beautiful foundation that you have. So if you're going through this little, and some of you might be thinking of it as a little dark night of the soul, this is the reason why. And again, Paltu, you're putting yourself through that dark night of the soul. And haven't we been here before? Yeah, we kind of have. So it's up to you to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. So there's 3 here. And really initiate into your power, finally and completely, on your own terms, without the external having any say whatsoever, right? Just do it. Earth pulsing, pulse of Mother Nature, slow down time in nature. Coming back to yourself is wonderful. Child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the cosmos lives within you. Absolutely. The way in which you articulate yourself, you never need to worry. The energy of the cosmos really does integrate within you. And the way in which you speak, the way in which you hold yourself in the world is absolutely fantastic. You have all of the honoring of all this alchemy and all this magic. You don't need to doubt yourself. If it falls on deaf ears, that's fine. That is totally fine. Again, we want to remind you, I feel like I say this on this channel a little bit, you're not here to save everybody. In fact, you're not here to save anyone, but you're not here to save anybody. And the more that you really understand that as a facet of your being, the more you can really acknowledge your power and move forward. And then you have, I'm sorry, defensiveness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. And that's the other thing. Some of you go back to old instances and you go round and round and round and you loop in your brain, again, trying to find the actual truth with that. And the thing is that there is definitive truth. There is universal truth in all of that. And a lot of people's truths don't necessarily align with the universal truth. And again, that's totally fine. They're all coming from different perspectives, right? But it's when you go back into all of that and you're trying to figure out all of that. And again, extract different versions of truth and coming back together, it uproots you from your alignment, and it's just not what you're supposed to do. And this is how in the past that you made sense of the world, because that's the way that you were living. If you made sense of the world, you felt a little bit more in control, and maybe it worked for you in the past to a certain degree. It never worked fully, but that was you then. So letting everybody be where they are and not even thinking about, when people come up with opinions and this, that, and the other, just that's fine. Again, cut it off, cut it out. We don't need to take on any of that energy. It's really important that you pull all of your energy back to yourself, really root into those foundations again of the first, second, and third chakra that just need a little bit of a clear out. Again, it doesn't need a lot of work, but just this releasing action of really coming back into self will do that automatically. And really click into this, is, we cannot stress this enough, click back into your divine feminine, into your heart chakra, click back into working within this heart moment of this alignment with this divine feminine, with beautiful Mother Mary, Queen of Angels as Mother Mary, and even Jesus is coming up here too. Not surprised if we have Mother Gaia, just really coming back to the essence of sort of the beginning, the understanding of just you. And you will get a better idea of the we instead of I. You know, we're seeing a lot of I's in the world, me in the world. We're seeing a lot of ego stuff, but we're coming into this alliance for the we understanding. But for you, it's kind of ironic. For you coming back to the I, to the me understanding of you, you're going to get to the we understanding quicker. It's more important for you. You're getting lost in the we. You're getting lost in the me. You're getting lost in the me energy. Which is the we energy out there, if that makes sense. In the cosmos, in a lot of the denser energies, it's all about me. So you're getting lost in that energy, which is not, it's, if you pull it back and you actually see it for what it is, and you claim that me energy and the authenticity, you can go back to the we energy, which is what you're trying to do. You're really trying to solidify so many different things in so many different directions. And it sounds like it's a lot to take on, but you've done all the work already. It's just a shift in perspective. But aligning with your divine feminine here and with your intuition, moving you forward is absolutely the way to go. Just intuition for you from now on until things solidify. The practicality is always there. Your divine masculine sits and holds the divine feminine beautifully. It works gorgeously. You know, you never need to worry about your divine masculine. That is set up. You just need to create that beautiful alliance between you and your divine feminine completely and totally, and also ease into that and allow that energy to really take over. And that's when you're going to get that aligned action and move forward the way in which you want. Again, don't overthink it. Really small tweaks here to your perception, and you've got this. You've absolutely got this, Paul, too. So we are sending so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are. If you have not already, we would love for you to subscribe 2 to 3 videos a week. Don't forget to hit that like button, and of course hit that subscribe. You've already done that. Well done. That bell icon so you never miss a reading. We'd love to have you here at Unicorn Light Tarot. And there's so much more for this channel too. We have our podcast. We have some important, beautiful announcements that are coming up soon. A little bit too early, but there's so much more to this channel. So we want you to be part of it and not miss a portion of it. So many ways to be supported. So come and subscribe and hang out with us a little bit more. Until we meet again, stay you and go be you, pile 2. Take care. Okay, pile 3, if this is your pile, then of course we are doing which love goddess has a message for you, and you are pile Freyja. Freyja. I'm obsessed with the freedom, right? Freyja. So of course she is Freyja. Now beauty and magic, gold also too. She also protects those who have left the earthly realm, and a little bit of lust in there too. So we're going to leave it up to Freyja, see what messages you get today. And of course we have our beautiful passion candle on the side too. So we're going to go ahead and get some more oracle cards for you to start your reading, and then we shall move into our Goddess Tarot for some more information as we move forward. So I'm feeling the whole 4 oracle here for you, but we are going to start with your Freyja card, and it is Take Charge and Action. All right, so that's your first card. Then we have All Paths Lead Home, Inner Authority, Intuition, Turn Your Gaze Within. Okay, then you've got Face Your Adversaries. Okay, so you've got Lavender, Surround Yourself with Love. So this is an essence of self-love too, a little bit similar to Pile 2, but very different energy because there was very specific elements of support there. So this is about pulling your energy inwards and really understanding your strength and your beauty, and also honoring your path of everything that you've been through already. Now, a lot of you are going through a sort of we'll see how many people of you, but some of you may be going through a grief process where you've gotten to this plateau where you feel as though everything is changing and shifting, and there's this real excitement in the air, and then you hit this plateau of like this heavy grief that came in, that sort of shocked you, and for some of you it kind of came out of nowhere seemingly. Now the actual grief in itself holds truth for you, so that you know that the remnants of the grief and what it's connected to makes a lot of sense to you. For some of you, you're like, I thought I dealt with this or whatever, but it's connected to something, and you do have a firm understanding of that connection to a degree, but it's coming up in a way that feels as though for some of you it's not necessarily pulling you down, but it's kind of overwhelming, and it stays with you. And this grief is your friend, and it's absolutely beautiful, right? So for some of you, you're feeling as though this grief is from your life and it's coming up. Now, that's only half true. Some of it is. And some of you are a little bit worried because you're like, I thought I kind of dealt with this. Now, you really did. And you've been incrementally, again, peeling the layers of the onion back of this grief. But the other side of it is, and this is really important for you to understand because hopefully it'll make sense to you, is that you're grieving for the world. You're grieving for the old world. You're grieving for the way that we did things. You're grieving for the systems that are crumbling, that didn't care about people enough, that didn't care about animals enough, that didn't care for this, that. Well, there's a million different ways we could do this, right? We're not going to go through different ways that society didn't care or put other people above other people based on all sorts of absolute rubbish that never made sense, right? Actually wasn't true. So there's an aspect of that that's mirroring into your own personal grief. Now, it's important to honor this grief, but it's important to see it for what it is, so you can return back to your beautiful self and go on with where you were, because you were at this exciting moment where everything was kind of taking place, and then you were like, oh, this is great, and this, that, and the other. And then, you know, you had your ups and downs because you're working on maintaining your frequency. Everybody is. You know, but this is different. It's almost like you stepped into a puddle of this and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, I thought I was at a place and then now I'm really confused. Some of you, this grief has brought you to a place where you don't really understand what you're doing anymore, and what you were previously excited about has sort of fallen away, and you're just a little bit confused, and some of you might actually be frustrated with what's going on. Now, there's a very simple understanding to this. Again, the grief of the world is coming in and it's mirroring the old stuff. So when it mirrors the old grief that's coming up, honor that. There's not more work for you to do. We say this all the time on Unicorn Light Tarot. Don't go down the rabbit hole. There's not more work for you to do per se. But as it comes up, allow it to flow through you. That's really important for you to stay very, very connected to your feelings and your emotionality right now. That's number one. Number two, to acknowledge that the grief that you're feeling on a larger scale, and this is where it is really important, because this is the stuff that's telling you that because your practical mind is trying to make sense of it, right? So this grief is happening for the world that's crumbling. It's gone, actually. It's already gone, right? So we've been moving through different stages of grief, and you have been too. But this is an extreme version of it, because that world for you is gone. It no longer exists. It's crumbled. It's over. Now, you may not be in any different type of world yet. You're still working on that, and that's perfectly fine. But the old version of the world is gone. You can't go back to it anymore. And this, you know, on every cell and every level of your being, right? And it might be, again, mirroring how this works for you on a very specific, very personal level. But and your practical mind is saying, there's nothing to go back to. There's nothing to go back to. This grief is real. It's happening. And it's happening. It's happening in a way that it's never happened before. We can't stop it. We can't figure out how to work with it. And you can't go back to the old world anymore, and you're not necessarily 2 feet firmly into the new world right now. So we're confused. Your ego's confused. It's telling you that there's darkness. There's telling you that this is dark. This is even for some of you telling you that it's bad. We don't know how to do this. We don't have the guidebook for this. We don't have the instructions. We don't know what we're supposed to do. So we're just presuming the worst. So there's an essence of you that's sort of shut down a little bit to the idea that there's beauty back in the world, this, that, and the other. And that's just your practical mind, your ego trying to protect you. But here's the thing. it's a celebration moment. It may not feel like that, but it's a celebration of self-love. You've brought yourself to so much healing. You brought yourself to this point where you can celebrate the fact that the old world is gone for good. It's gone. You can't go back to it. All the things that you did before, and if you're trying to do that, and this has been happening for you with various different frustration levels anyway. When you've tried to before, recently, before this sort of this pile, this quicksand seemingly hit, you try to do things the old way, it still wasn't working anyway. So that should be no news to you really, but anything that you try to do from the way that you used to do that in the old way that you used to do things, it's never going to work anymore. That's never going to work. Now, here's the thing. You absolutely know intrinsically, you know without a shadow of a doubt how to move forward. You are really clicked into your divine feminine in such a beautiful way. When you rely on that divine feminine, you cannot go wrong and things take off really quickly. Now, you absolutely know this. This understanding of you has been fully integrated into your soul. So you know this, you really do. So you're not really in this position of, oh, woe is me, I don't know what's going on. It's not that you're feeling sorry for yourself. Part of you doesn't really understand that you're grieving for the world. So, of course, you're seeing it much bigger than what it is. But there's a little part of you, real talk, Pal 3, that's feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, right? And, you know, that's part of the grief is allowing the grief to go through you. And then part of that grief is really understanding where it comes from and not wallowing in it. So, you know, you've got to figure out how to honor it without wallowing. And this is something that you can do when you understand where the grief is coming from. And hopefully we helped you out with that today. And again, really understanding that you have everything you need to move forward, to make the miracles happen without a shadow of a doubt. You already clicked in to that, into that beautiful way that you move with your intuition. You're clicked into it. Now, you've had moments of it your entire life where you click in, you click out. And when you absolutely trust and you surrender, beautiful things have happened. But you've gone in and out of that knowing. But you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, Pal 3, so don't you dare doubt yourself, you solidified this knowing before you allowed in this grief. Because there was an aspect of you, it's like, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on to something brand new, something absolutely bigger and something beautiful. But in order to do that, I have to let go completely in all of my cells in every way, shape or form, the old world. And I have to do it on all levels. And because you transmuted a lot of the energy from the external world, a lot of the grief that you hold is for the actual world too. Not just for this world, but for your past lives too, all of this. So it seems a little bit bigger. But you don't need to worry about it because the way in which you move forward has already been solidified. You already knew how to completely rely on your divine feminine before moving forward. You had that. You had that in place before you move forward. So all you need to do now is rely back on that, understand where this grief is coming from, process the grief on a personal level, allow it to go, whatever the last part of it is coming out, and then honor and celebration the fact that you're at this place where you are honoring the grief from the old world leaving. Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So let's get you some more information with these beautiful tarot cards. But you're exactly where you need to be. This is about being really conscious of your energy and how you work with yourself. It's also coming back to an essence of trusting yourself too. We want you to trust yourself. And this is part of how you can trust yourself. This process is going to bring you completely and fully back to yourself in every way, shape, or form. Now, it may not feel that way right now, but it is designed to bring you back to trusting yourself and honoring all aspects of yourself. This is part of it. So we have, you've got the Princess of Cups, really honoring that beautiful emotionality and coming back to this essence of self-love here. Now, we've got Freyja with us today, right? So this is all about, she's representative of gold, the manifestation of turning things, transmuting this alchemy, turning everything into gold, turning this energy of grief into gold. This is something that you can do. For some of you, you may even write a book on the process. For some of you, you may even write a course on the process to help other people through it. If you're not there right now, that's fine. You got to get to the other side of it so you can see things, from sort of a macro version, sort of seeing everything line up, and then you'll get a better way of how to put the book together, whatever. But this is an idea. This is a huge thing for you, and this is something that you're going to be able to guide people through at some point in your own quirky, unique, beautiful way, right? Maybe you'll do it by writing not necessarily a nonfiction book, but actually a fictional book, which talks to people like this. There's also, who are in this situation, there's also a deep, deep felt understanding of I really feel it here in the heart chakra opening up, but not just the grief of what you've been through, and everybody's been through, a certain amount of grief, right? Different degrees of it, but we don't get out of this world completely unscathed from grief. We just don't. That's just the human experience. But you have a new understanding of how you pass over that life is really eternal too. So there's a gorgeousness to this. There's so many different elements to this, so many different components that you can bring in and help people, right? So there's, through this grief, that you're really seeing and understanding and transmuting, sort of, for want of a better term, the 3D world, the matrix, right, which is already crumbled. Actually, for a lot of people, it's already crumbled, it's gone. Some people are still living within it, but that's fine, that's their choice. But it's gone. But there's also this real understanding, this real rooting of the eternal. And it's just it's this incredible feeling. So once you really understand what the grief is doing for you and with you, you'll be able to connect to that internal beautifulness. Now, you did already know this, but knowing it and feeling it and honoring it, and being able to sort of alchemize at that level are two different things. And it really brings you into this new profound relationship with your emotionality. It takes it up like 10 notches, right? Really, really appreciating your emotionality, because that's been a tough thing for you, pal 3, because you've been incredibly sensitive. Let's see, I think this has gone a little, yeah, I think I might have knocked that a little bit. Anyway, you've had this intense emotionality your entire life, and you've not always known how to navigate it. And sometimes you sort of navigate it sort of within yourself, and things have felt like a huge storm coming in. But now that you're working on the different components, really understanding how it all works, you can honor this absolutely beautiful side of yourself, which is incredibly insightful. I mean, we are talking next level insightful, right? So for those of you who are thinking about writing books, no matter, or creativity, or using your knowledge for a greater purpose in the greater good in the external world, please do, because first of all, it's part of your blueprint, and second of all, the way in which you understand things and the level of appreciation that you bring to the work, and helping people through different versions of self is absolutely incredible. There's nobody in this world who will be able to do the work that you do. And you're just at the beginning of honoring it. Even if you're already clicked into knowing in your blueprint why you're here and actively moving toward that, you're just at the first level of reaching whatever it is that you can reach. And this is part of the process. Yeah, you've often thought of yourself as being overwhelmed with your emotionality and not really seeing it as a strength, but rather seeing it as a weakness. Now, sometimes this has gone against you because you've missed out, and it's not a big deal. You didn't miss out on anything that was that was worthy of you, or anything that was anything that was really yours. But sometimes you said no to things because you felt like you would be overwhelmed in that situation, and the emotionality sort of took hold, and you gave it a lot of power. And now you've taken that power back, and you realize that it really is your strength, and you can choose to do whatever it is that you want to do and get a section of your life back that seems very ordinary to other people, but it isn't ordinary to you. Even you being in a position to be in a large crowd, for instance, just giving you an example, not that you're going to run out and do it, but being able to do that and appreciate it is kind of a big deal for somebody else. For Joe up the road, it wouldn't be a big deal for them, but for you it is, to really appreciate the aspect of life that you pulled yourself out of while you were trying to make sense of your beautiful emotionality, and now seeing it as an actual strength. And honestly, it's going to be the booster from which you will be able to achieve what it is that you want. It will be the very catalyst that pulls you through and pushes you and nudges you into this great sense of self-worth and beauty. So it's, and this essence of what's going on in and around you with the grief, this is the gift that you're going to be left with, this integration of this knowledge without a shadow of a doubt. Now you have this knowledge to a certain degree. None of this is like brand new. You've been working on this, but the full integration of it so you can move forward in any different direction that you want to, as we say on this channel, being flexible, living spherically, moving in any direction, but still being firmly on your path, and inviting in that magic and just letting things go and see, but also having a very firm idea of what you want to achieve. All of this is possible. We also want to say one thing for you, for each and every one of you in Pile 3. Whatever you have decided for yourself, it's not even remotely what you can achieve. So for those of you who are like, I keep putting my stuff out there and nothing's coming up, it's because the universe has something much bigger for you. Much, much bigger. And even if you think that the dreams that you have, they're already pretty lofty. What are you talking about? I'm getting something bigger. This is pretty huge already. Trust us, that's not even the beginning of what you're supposed to do in this lifetime. So if you're, focusing on something specific and you're like, it's not coming to fruition, the universe is coming up with something bigger for you. All this energy is getting you prepared for it. You got the Queen of Swords here, beautiful. And then you got the Nine of Cups. That's it. I mean, you're done. You got this. The Queen of the Swords, you've got this articulation moving forward, your truth, your beauty. And that last remnants of the ego that you're working through too. You don't have to, transcend it or battle it or whatever. You're actually going to work with your ego really beautifully and teach others how to do that too. You're also very aware of when your ego shines its beautiful head, and you know when it's working tricks with you. You've got a very intimate relationship with your ego. It by no means rules you. Sometimes it pisses you off, and sometimes it has a little bit more power than you would like it, but it doesn't rule you. Sometimes you give it power because you're like, I can't deal with this right now. Just whatever you want, like that tired mama. All right, that's fine. Just poop on the floor. That's fine. I'll clean it up later. I'm too tired. I can't deal with it. That's the relationship sometimes you have with your ego. But don't think for a second that you don't realize what's going on. That there's this relationship where they have power over you. The ego is ruling you. That's not true at all. So, standing in your truth and your honesty and your beauty, and again, bringing the uniqueness of your intuition and what it is that you have of great, great value in this world, right? And whatever it is that you've asked for, again, you're going to get so much more. I mean, the Nine of Cups and the Star card, my two cards, this is your wish card. Whatever it is that you've wished for. And we're not talking about the specifics of it. This is your higher self and what it's asked for. It's going to be incredibly powerful. And again, if none of that is being shown, it's showing up in your physical reality yet, get ready. Hold on to your pants. I don't even know if that's a saying. It probably isn't. But hold on to your socks. Is that it? Or whatever. Hold on to something, because something big is coming in without a shadow of a doubt. But it's something bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than you could have expected. So all of this is a process for you to move through, to come out on the other side of it. Now, you might be all on different variants of this at the beginning of it, right in the middle of the storm, coming out on the other side of it. That's fine. We want to tell you this too shall pass. And don't overthink it. This is not like, you're not having a midlife crisis. You're not in a void. You're not in any of this. This is not going to last. And hopefully we've given you some tricks and tips and some understanding, at least put it in perspective for you, so you can learn to work with this energy maybe a little bit differently too. Because some of you, when you get overwhelmed like this, it's like, oh, all right, this is it. I guess this is where we're here. That's where we are. And this is sometimes you have this a little bit in common with Pile 2. Sometimes you give up just before, something big and bright comes in. But you're not at that point where you're ever really going to give up. The giving up is the giving up of the energy. It just makes it's going to make the system, this process a little bit more difficult for you, but you're going to get through it. And there's no giving up. You're not at the point where you can actually physically give it up, because you're linked in, you're clicked in, and you're absolutely connected to. You're activated into your soul sign, what it is that you're here to do, your blueprint. So you're not really going to give up, right? So this is a beautiful time. Believe it or not, whether you feel like that or not. And we hold so much love for you. If you're not feeling as though it's great right now, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to, it doesn't all have to be unicorns and magic right now. That's fine. But that energy is coming. Obviously honor exactly where you are. integrate the knowledge of this reading any way that you can for your own individual unique circumstance, and know that we're just cheering you on. There's so much cheering on here with Freyja too, and especially with the alchemy part of it. She's helping you with the alchemy aspect of this, and this is all coming back to a really profound sense of self-love. And with this profound sense of self-love that you've been and knowing that you deserve what you want, right? This is integrating again in every system. So you've worked on the etheric level before, the esoteric level. You've worked on all of those levels. This is really integrating your self-love into this physical level, into all of your cells. You can actually ask for help and beauty in overseeing this with the goddess Freyja. If you want to. And this is the last remnants of really understanding your beautiful self-love. And again, all of that work that you've done in your aura, clearing out your bloodline, clearing out your past lives, healing from that, your old soul. So there's a lot of karma that you needed to do, right? So this is why the payoff's going to be big, Pile 3. So just hold on a little bit. Again, as you're integrating, this is all so you can come back to this understanding, this energy of self-love that is so ingrained within you. No matter what happens, it cannot falter. It cannot be shifted by anyone, anything, any circumstances, anything. And this is what you're working to. Everything going through all of this grief on many different aspects, from the interpersonal to the collective to the external. It's all coming back to an honest understanding of your self-love, honoring your gifts, honoring your beauty, and saying to the universe, all right, the old's gone. Now what have you got for me? Let's level up. Let's go big. Let's go big or go home. That's what we've got for you, Pile 3. This is really exciting. Hang in there. This too shall pass, no matter where you're at. If you're at the kind of hairy elements of it, this too shall pass. Don't overthink it. It really isn't going to stay that long, and it's a clearing out process, but it's a big clearing out process. It's the biggest clearing out process that you've ever been through. So there might be some heart fluterations or some digestive stuff going on. It could be as it's clearing out, it could be affecting certain things. Also third eye, some headaches, stay hydrated, electrolytes, all of that stuff. As you move through this, obviously we're not going to diagnose you. You got to do what you got to do. But as you move through this, all of these things solidify and sort of move through and go back to normal, right? But you're upgrading on every level. And this is a physical level for you. So it would be, for a lot of you, you will be feeling physical symptoms because this is a physical level for you. You've worked on the other levels, you're coming in. But this level solidifies exactly who you are moving forward. And that person is just full of life and able to move in any direction. So we are sending you so much love and support. That's what we have for you, Pile 3. If you have not subscribed already, we would love to have you. Feel free to subscribe to Unicorn Light Tarot. We have so much going on this great channel. We have the podcast and so many, there's a few different things coming up that will be available the beginning of next year. More to come on that, but right now we have the podcast and the Unicorn School of Light and all sorts of different things. So we would love to have you, and go ahead and hit that like button. Of course, that bell notification, 2 to 3 of these beautiful readings a week to support your soul exactly where you are. Until we meet again, you go be you. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.